crypto really is 95% pain and suffering and only 5% of glory. But those 5% really make the difference. Those 5% really are the life-changing gains. And those are the 5% where people will just love you. They will worship you for being an early adopter in crypto. And you will feel amazing. You will feel great because your portfolio is going up only. You'll see large companies, institutions, individuals talking about crypto left and right. And this time will come. It's just not there now, but it will come, right? We are in the 95% pain and suffering phase right now. But the script will flip at some point, and then it's going to be worth it, like Nick is saying, right? It's going to be worth it, and that's just how it is. And here on this channel, I talk a lot about fundamentals. I talk a lot about and document the improvement of our industry, the advancement, the growth, the expansion of the Cosmos and IBC economy, but also outside of Cosmos, right? We talk a lot about generally crypto advancements and improvements on the tech side of things, the developer side of things, the user experience, the user adoption. I talked to you yesterday about smart accounts and osmosis that are coming, which is very nice. But also, if you zoom out on a macro level, large institutions, large companies are positioning themselves in crypto. They are buying Bitcoin actively. And you saw that yesterday, yet again, another $100 million. Like 100 million now is like almost a boring number for these ETF flows, but it's a massive number. And this is just within one day, right? Within one day, we saw $100 million in net inflows, while we also saw 51 in net outflows from Grayscale, which means the actual flows, excluding Grayscale, are over $150 million. BlackRock didn't even have any flows yesterday, and they're usually the biggest ones. But we are on track. The ETF volumes are rising again. They're green again after a couple of weeks or days of a lot of outflows, as you can see here in this chart visualized. Pretty much ever since mid-late March, we're seeing a lot of outflows here. At the same time, we're also now pretty much all eyes on the ETH ETF approval, which is due 8 days from today. And it feels like, to be honest, that no one is really talking about it. It feels like it's a very cold topic. And it also feels that everyone is really expecting this to get rejected, even though that there is no fundamental reason for it. But it most likely will get rejected. There's a 90% chance that it will not be approved. And coinbureau just made another tweet here saying that the SEC is filing for BlackRock spot ETF seeks public feedback on its commodity status. And I think this is really a question now that has been out in the wild, whether or not Ethereum is a security, especially after they made the switch from proof of work to proof of stake, because Gary Gensler, the head of the SEC, has been dodging this question over and over, right? He never really answered it, and we don't really have clarity. At the same time, we're also seeing Vanguard appointing a new CEO who is the former head of BlackRock's global ETF business and one of the leaders in launching BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF. And Vanguard has been very anti-crypto, but now with the new CEO, this could actually change, and we could have yet another institution getting orange-pilled and joining the crypto train. Now, here's an overview of the deadlines. VanEck is the first one, May 23rd, 8 days from now. And when they decide on that one, they will probably also decide on all the others. At the same time, this is also a big truth, which I talked about here repeatedly. They already approved a futures ETF. Why would they do that? Staking has also been removed as part of the applications from all the issuers. So this is actually, there's no fundamental reason why this should be disapproved or rejected, right, or denied. The big question, I guess, is now, is this the opportunity where the SEC will try to label Ethereum a security, and will they go after staking? Will they go after staking, proof of stake as a consensus mechanism, and just label all of these coins as securities? But at the same time, I also think that they will probably want to take more time. Like I said also in another video, the SEC is following a bigger agenda here. The bigger agenda is CBDC, central bank digital currencies. So they will try everything. They don't really care about crypto entrepreneurship. They really care about their own agenda, which are CBDCs, which is why they will try everything to buy more time, because they really have to catch up. China is already way ahead of the CBDC game. They're already in full swing of rolling out their central bank digital currency. I actually wrote my bachelor thesis on that topic 4 years ago. So this is already in full swing. The US is just catching up right now, and they have to buy time with these cryptocurrencies, because otherwise crypto is just taking over, right? And crypto is also here to take over. It's not just here to take part, it's here to take over. Anyways, let's look into some of the price developments here in the Cosmos ecosystem, in the Interchain, and we can see something major happened. And the major thing that happened is that Atom unflipped TIA. Atom per coin is now more expensive again than TIA. Note, however, that TIA still has a higher FDV, fully diluted valuation of $8 billion, whereas Atom sits around $3 billion. That's because there's a lot more TIA supply. And like I always say as well, especially for these newer coins, you name it, TIA, then Saga is in that bucket, Barachain will be in that bucket. All of these new generation coins, where I talk a lot about here also in this channel, this new generation of Cosmos coins, the new main characters for Cosmos that are going to inaugurate a new era and elevate Cosmos to the Interchain, is these tokens, these coins, all have to go through one full cycle of redistribution, one full bear market. And then I think after those 4 years, we'll see where they stand. And then I think it's fair to compare to coins like Atom, right? Atom has been around now for over 5 years on mainnet, and it's just absolutely battle tested. The whole drama it's been going through over the years, Atom 2.0, which to be honest got very ugly, and we were also very close to that whole drama with Cosmoverse, which is where Atom 2.0 was announced, with here on the channel. I was trying my best to get as much alpha and information as possible from all the contributing teams to be able to share that here on my channel. But I've also always been playing catch up, to be honest, because I'm not plugged into the internal channels, communications, and strategies from these organizations like Informal, the ICF, and all these teams that have contributed to this. But that's another seminar, that's another topic. But I think that makes Atom so resilient in the end of the day. Having gone through all this, having survived all this, still being in the top 30, well, now top 34, but it's not on page 2, it's not on page 3, right? Like a lot of these legacy coins, Ethereum killers from 2017, if you remember, NEM, EOS, NEO, the Ethereum of China, even Tezos. Tezos is somewhere on bottom of page 1, but lost a lot of rankings. Whereas Atom, yes, it lost some rankings. It doesn't have the best perception in crypto. There's a lot of drama around the native token value accrual and all these kind of things, but it's still there, still standing, and still relatively high up there. So like I said, if you compare this to something like the 2017 killers, EOS 98, Tezos rank 100, and those are all chains with decent funding, a lot of funding. EOS raised $4 billion with a B, $4 billion at the time. Tezos, hundreds of millions in their treasury, and they're not doing nearly as well as Atom. So in the end of the day, everything is still is going to be fine. Cosmos is going to be fine. The Interchain is going to be fine. Atom is going to be fine. Barachain is going to be fine. They will all be fine. And I think now it's just a pivotal phase where Cosmos elevates into something bigger, which is the Interchain, the Internet of Blockchains. And I also have a new pinned tweet now on my Twitter, which is basically some thoughts about defining those terms. Because obviously I'm in no position to just decide on those terms and define them. But this is just an attempt for myself, how I see it, how I view it, and how can Cosmos elevate into the Interchain with the entire ecosystem, realigning with its roots, realigning with the core tech stack that they have chosen to build on. I'm talking about the same networks, the Celestias, the Thor chains, the Kronos, Fetch AI, all these multi-billion-dollar chains, and the new ones like Barachain. But there's many more that are still coming up. Shogun, Movement Labs, Initia, you name it. And how can we not only realign them, but how can we also build a more welcoming brand, a more welcoming ecosystem where it's not immediately affiliated to one coin and one coin only, right? And I think, like I said multiple times now, the left curve take on Cosmos right now is that Cosmos equals Atom. And the truth, though, is that so far we always said Cosmos in reference to the entire ecosystem, right? The network of sovereign L1s. But it's always been an uphill battle, especially for me here on the channel, when I'm on guest, appearances on other YouTube channels, always having to explain, hey, by the way, Cosmos is not actually Atom, but it's a sovereign ecosystem of layer 1 blockchains, of which Atom is one competitive equal layer 1 with no special status, with no value accrual. And this is not a design flaw, but that's a design intention. So always having to explain that is very, very hard. And I also feel, to be honest, many times left alone because, like I said earlier, I'm not part of the ICF. I'm not integrated into their communication channels. I'm not part of their strategic marketing team. I don't even know if they have one, but even if there was one, I would probably not be in those communication channels, which is why I think a smart idea to resolve this and to elevate into the Interchain is for Cosmos to just go back to its roots. So it will basically mean Cosmos is now a synonym for the Cosmos Hub and the broader AEZ, which means all consumer chains that are Atom secured. And the Cosmos is then an ecosystem within the Interchain, which means the Cosmos Hub could pretty much fully reclaim the Cosmos term, the Cosmos brand, which is something that kind of already happened over the years. And especially considering the fact that Jae Kwon forked the Cosmos Hub and is going to launch Atom 1 and GovGen, building his own ecosystem, that basically forks away a lot of the drama, and that also forks away the division between the Cosmos Hub mentality, hub minimalism versus becoming an actual interchain service provider that's much more on the pulse of innovation and more aggressive to roll out more features, not just security, but other features that also benefit the value accrual for Atom. Then, of course, we have the Cosmos Hub, which is the first chain deploying the interchain stack, the interchain stack being IBC, the Cosmos SDK, CosmWasm, and Comet BFT, a technological stack that powers the creation of sovereign app chains or sovereign L1s. So the Cosmos Hub was the first to deploy on that stack and to also prove that IBC and the app chain thesis is the right path. It also secures the Atom economic zone and acts as an interchain service provider, being the mother chain of Cosmos and the interchain. So what is the interchain in that context then? Well, the interchain is an expansion of Cosmos, the internet of blockchains, which basically means it's a network of blockchains that are all connected via IBC. And in the future, most likely, they probably don't even have to be built on the Cosmos SDK. This can be non-Cosmos native chains. So the broader ecosystem, so we already see this happening with Picasso connecting Polkadot and Kusama. Polkadot and Kusama are basically part of the interchain because they are now compatible to IBC or via IBC, and that makes them part of the interchain. So that's what we really mean here. And this is outside of the scope of Cosmos, even partially outside of the scope of the interchain stack. But obviously IBC is here really the main thing, right? IBC is the main thing that the whole Cosmos ecosystem or interchain rallies behind. In that context, we have two major announcements. Number one from Evmos, which now evolved the Ethermint brand into Evmos. They have just announced that they're building a sidechain together with Ripple that is compatible with the XRP ledger. I like to call it the interchain expansion. That's really a movement that's going on right now. And I'm going to show you in a second what other multi-billion-dollar ecosystem is in that bucket. So that basically means that through the Evmos, we can now have full compatibility between interchain services and providers like Stride, Evmos, Osmosis through IBC via the XRP ledger. And they're saying, why is this huge? Well, liquidity number one, XRP ledger has $27 billion in market cap that will connect to the interchain over IBC. I would, however, really clarify here that market cap doesn't really equal liquidity or volumes. And also the entire focus of Ripple and the XRP ledger is not really known to be super kind of retail focused, right? So I will really point that out here. Then also for funding, there will be grants for attracting developers and builders to build on that new EVM compatible sidechain on the XRP ledger, and also users, the XRP community, which, to be honest, that is true. They're huge, the XRP army. But like I said, I think they're not as known to be degens or traders or whatever, but more so known to be active on social media and all these kind of things. Now, if that all sounds familiar to you, then yeah, you might be right, because Coreum actually already has shipped a bridge between the XRP ledger and Cosmos. Coreum is a Cosmos layer 1 blockchain that is actually native to the XRP ledger community. The team behind Coreum is also the team that built Sologenic, which is a DeFi platform on the XRP ledger. But they built Coreum as an L1, and now a month ago or 2 months ago, they announced the bridge between the XRP ledger and Cosmos, right, in a similar fashion. And I'm not really saying this now to downplay the Evmos announcement, but I think it's important to understand that there are multiple teams working on this, which is actually great, because more competition leads to more hardened protocols and more pressure from these teams to actually deliver something that is the best on the market. And the second big ecosystem that is going to actually natively integrate IBC, I guess also as a sidechain, is going to be Cardano. Cardano is also still a $20 billion chain or something like that, $15 or $20 billion chain. And they are now, the Cardano Foundation themselves are going to implement IBC on a Cardano sidechain, as far as I understand. I made a video a long time ago about World Mobile Token, which is a Cardano native. And World Mobile Token was actually supposed to be building a Cosmos SDK build sidechain on Cardano that is fully IBC compatible. I actually don't know what happened with that, to be honest. I haven't really followed after I made the video. It got a little bit quiet around it. But now the Cardano Foundation itself is building that. I actually had also multiple calls with the Cardano Foundation over the past months and years. IBC everywhere. The interchain is growing. This is really what we're talking about. Now let's look into some news. Number one, we have Yieldmos announcing that they're unfortunately shutting down their services. They are basically an auto-compounding tool where you could basically just automate your staking and it would auto-compound for you in the background. Why are they shutting down? Well, I guess mostly because they just haven't been able to kind of capture value from that and run a sustainable, profitable business, which, to be honest, is a very tough thing to do, because no matter what type of founder you are in any sort of entrepreneurship, but especially in crypto, you need to also have a strong business model that sustains your company, that sustains your business, that sustains your team's future, because otherwise at one point you unfortunately have to land and take such decisions to really shut down. So this is really sad to see. On May 31st, they will shut down their services. But what you can do now is you can revoke your grants, or you can just let them expire. But yeah, in the end of the day, your funds are safe. They never had custody, and you don't really have to do anything. They will also, which is what I said here, do a write-up once the dust settles. Obviously, this has been a tough decision for them. But yeah, looking forward to read what their reasoning was, what their challenges were. Obviously, as a founder and builder in crypto and Cosmos, this is something that's not nice to see, but also understand the struggles. It's really, really hard to run a profitable, not only a profitable business, but also to be able to grow that and sustain that, and to also have enough runway, enough funding to sustain a 3 to 4 year bear market. An alternative for Yieldmos is also restake. So if you still want to auto compound, you can use restake as well. We're also fully integrated here with Stake as a validator, so you can also restake with us here through restake. Other updates and news we have from Osmosis. I talked about it yesterday about the smart accounts, which is a very interesting thing, and probably a game changer for the UX on Osmosis. But also there is now alpha around Penumbra, which might be the next chain to launch. Penumbra is a privacy-focused chain that is going to launch apparently in June of 2024. And this is one of the bigger ones, but probably lesser talked about coins and chains in Cosmos or in the broader crypto ecosystem. And I think that Penumbra, alongside also Namada, and we also talked about Aleph Zero a lot, they're really in this ZK privacy field, which I think is probably the next phase, the next evolution for privacy coins in general, for privacy projects in general, and just privacy for individuals and for companies and businesses in the future. So Penumbra, definitely want to watch out for the token. Then we also have Initia. I also have some breaking news and updates on Initia, because they just announced the launch of their public testnet, which is also incentivized. We can come here and first off get your 30 init tokens from the faucet, and then you can play around here. You can do a swap, you can stake, and so on and so forth. We're not yet, at least you're not yet a validator here on Initia, but yeah, we'd love to join that network as well. But in any case, this is definitely something that you should play around with. This is an incentivized public testnet. Going back to Osmosis, we also have more and more degen stuff integrated on Osmosis. Cannonbot is now live, which is a trading bot that immediately gets you access to 3,000 plus tokens on Osmosis. You can track your profits and your losses, and this is how it looks like. And it's a really cool feature for all the degens out there, for all traders out there. So if you are an avid trader and degen, then you can play around with Cannonbot. We also have some alpha from Bad Kids, basically a delayed 2-year anniversary gift, I would say, that is going to go live on Friday. So in 2 days on Stargaze, open edition free mint for Bad Kids NFT holders. It's basically a big poster featuring one example of each of the 50 body types of Bad Kids. And yeah, this is going to go live. It's basically one art for all Bad Kids holders. So if you are a Bad Kid holder like I am, then you can mint that for free. And if you're not a Bad Kid holder, no financial advice, of course, but now might actually be an interesting time. 110,000 stars, but at the current price of stars, that actually translates into $2,100. And considering that just a couple months ago, Bad Kids were trading at around $9,000, and a lot of the Solana OGs, a lot of the validators, a lot of even funds and VCs and builders have bought Bad Kids around also the airdrop narrative. Remember the wormhole airdrop, the Namada airdrop. A lot of these airdrops were given out to Bad Kids NFT holders. We also know that the Mantra chain, the OM airdrop, is going to be given out to Bad Kid holders. Might actually mean that now is a relatively good entry. Obviously, the best entry was obviously at mint, but yeah, now is actually not the worst entry, I would say. But also at the same time, we have to see at what the sloths are doing. And the sloths have really taken some market shares away, I would even say, from Bad Kids, because there's also this airdrop meta. So it's really interesting to see that the 3 flagship NFT collections on Stargaze are actually native to 3 different chains. We have Bad Kids from the Stargaze chain itself. We have Mad Scientists from the Osmosis chain, from the Osmosis community. And we have the Celestine Sloth Society, which is obviously fully Celestia aligned. I hope you're doing your homework, doing days like these. You're not giving up. You understand that crypto is 95% suffering and pain, but the 5% of glory are going to be worth it. They're going to make up for it. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, stay safe and be good.